Good morning, F9. I hope everybody's doing well. We're going to read chapter 8 of The Sign of the Beaver today. Chapter 8. By the next morning, he was half sorry the boy would not be coming again. He did not know whether he was annoyed or relieved when Etienne walked through the door without a sign of greeting and sat down at the table. Matt decided to skip B for Bone. In the night, he had thought of a better way. This book isn't a treaty, he began. It's a story. It's about a man who gets shipwrecked on a desert island. I'll read some of it out loud to show you. He opened Robinson Crusoe at the first page and began to read. I was born in the year 1632 in the city of York. He stopped. He remembered suddenly how the first time he had tried to read this book he had found that first page so dull he had come close to giving up right there. He had better skip the beginning and get on with the story if he wanted to catch Etienne's attention. I'll read the part about the storm at sea, he said. He had read the book so many times that he knew exactly where to find the right page. Taking a deep breath, as though he were struggling in the water himself, he chose the page where Robinson Crusoe was dashed from the lifeboat and swallowed up in the sea. Nothing can describe the confusion of thought which I felt when I sunk into the water, for though I swam very well, yet I could not deliver myself from the waves so as to draw breath. For I saw the sea come after me as high as a great hill and as furious as an enemy. Matt looked up from the page. There was not a flicker of interest in the boy's face. Had he understood a single word? Discouraged, he laid down the book. What did a storm at sea mean to a savage who had lived all his life in the forest? Well, he said lamely, it gets better as you go along. Once more Etienne took him by surprise. White man get out of water? He asked. Oh, yes, Matt said, delighted. Everyone else on the ship is drowned. He gets thrown up all alone on an island. The Indian nodded. He seemed satisfied. Shall I read more of it? Etienne nodded again. Go now, he said. Come back, Siba. The next morning there was no question of B for Bone. Matt had the book open and waiting at the part he wanted to read. This is about the morning after the storm, he explained. Robinson Crusoe looks out and sees that part of the ship hasn't sunk yet. He swims out and manages to save some things and carry them to shore. He began to read. Once again, it was impossible to tell whether Etienne understood. Presently, Matt slowed down. It was discouraging, reading to a wooden post. But Etienne spoke at once. White man not smart like Indian, he said scornfully. Indian not need thing from ship. Indian make all thing he need. Disappointed and cross, Matt put the book down. They might as well get on with the alphabet. He drew a B on the birch bark. After Etienne had gone, Matt kept thinking about Robinson Crusoe and all the useful things he had managed to salvage from that ship. He had found a carpenter's chest, for instance, bags of nails, 2 barrels of bullets, and a dozen hatchets, a dozen. Why, Matt and his father had come up here to Maine with 1 axe and an adze. They had cut down trees and built this whole cabin and the table and the stools without a single nail. Crusoe had found a hammock to sleep in instead of prickly hemlock boughs. He could see now how it must have sounded to Etienne. Come to think of it, Robinson Crusoe had lived like a king on that desert island.